What's up, everybody? I've been away for a while. I'm trying to get back to you more and more in 2023. So hopefully this year will be a year full of content and helping you guys learn, as well as putting out new PSDs for you guys to learn from on my Patreon. So if you haven't checked out my Patreon, go check that out. There are a couple PSDs on my Patreon that are accessible to anyone, and there are some that you'll have to subscribe to the Patreon to get access to learn from those as well. So go check that out. I'll be trying to update that every month, probably in the first 5 days of the month, to give some consistency but also some leniency. And thanks to everyone who has supported me already. Shout out to Chad Miller and Tyler Pulley, my first two patrons. I appreciate you guys supporting all this. I hope it's helpful to you guys. Feel free to reach out to me on social media and stuff if you have questions, and I'll try to be as helpful as I can. Thanks again for all the support. So you guys voted on this. This graphic was one that was chosen, so without further ado, let's get right into it. So I started out with the black background. Then we have the cutout. Obviously, it goes all the way down to his legs, but I didn't need all that. So I just placed him on the left side of the screen. And the goal for this graphic was to have just a high quality looking like close-up graphic. So when you have like a bunch of little cutouts everywhere, it just tends to like look a little more cluttered and less clean and less detailed. Like you can see the details in his jersey and like in his skin and the helmet when you have this close-up of a shot. So it's nice to like do some of these every once in a while, or incorporate high detail photos into your graphics, because that's what's going to make them look high quality. So that was the goal for this. I just used a curves layer on top of him to brighten up these areas right here and right here, because the light that I'll be adding will be put onto him. So literally this is just a curves layer. I pulled the line up in the middle and then just sort of brushed in where I thought needed to be brighter. And then this is just a layer mask that I softly painted away his arm, and you'll see why in a minute. So I added this graphic in. This is just a photo. This is what it looks like on normal. I just found this online for free, and I set it to hard light, and then I thought that looked cool. Obviously, when you have stuff like this, you need to like go through all of the blending modes, because some might look cooler than others, and like usually I scroll through it a bunch and just pick the one that looks the best, and that's what I decided to go with. And then I just used a soft brush to paint away some of it on the jersey and stuff, because I wanted a little bit more from showing. So then I added in a color fill that was just like orange to go with the flames that are going to be added in. I set that to color dodge, and I brushed that in right here. That's where like his hands are going to be coming in with the fire on it. And then all I did was just drag down this black slider. So if you double click on the layer like I just did, double click, this box will pull up, and then you just hold Alt and pull this slider away. And what that's doing is it's pulling the orange, or taking the orange off of like the darkest areas. So if you did it on this side, it'd be taking off the lightest areas. If you want it to be more precise, I guess you'd pull the whole slider, but that tends to not look as good. So this is more of like a gradient, which always looks better to me. So that's what I did there, and obviously I didn't leave a whole lot, just a little bit of oranginess there. Then I added in this photo, which is set to screen. That's the actual photo. I like squished it down so it's like the world with the moon and stuff, but all I was using was just like the lighting, like the city lights and stuff. And so I set that to screen and just brushed it in like where I wanted it. And then I got another one of those and did the same thing just a little bit further down, just to like give the world some more detail, because without those two it's pretty bare, and with those two it actually looks like a planet. Then I added in his arm. So this arm is from a different photo, and I just cut it out. Tried to make it look accurate by aligning it the right way, and then using an exposure layer to darken it on the left side, and then like make it brighter over here as it gets closer to the light. And so really I just kind of tweaked some of these a little bit. I took the exposure basically all the way down, and then just bumped this to the left a little bit, and just did a gradient from left to right, so the left side is way darker and kind of fits in with the body, and that way, I mean, it looks like his arm. You can't tell that it's like not actually connected to him. So then I added a blue glow right here, and that is set to screen at 25% fill, and I locked that because it was probably being annoying. So it's just a blue glow. Remember, set to screens at 25% fill. And then we have the fire. So this is also set to screen. It's like a fireball that I just transformed and put a puppet warp on. I also pulled down the black slider. So that's what it originally looked like. It's like a meteor, or close to what it originally looked like. I probably brushed them away. So it's like a meteor, And then what I did was I pulled down the black slider on that layer. So this is for the layer you're working on. This is for the layer underneath. So because I pulled it down on this one, it affects this actual photo. If I pulled down this one, it would be taking information from whatever is underneath it. When I pull this away, it pulls off the darkest areas, and I just pulled that down to where basically only the fire was showing. Then I did a puppet warp to transform it to his hand, and then I set it to screen because that was the most realistic looking. And then there's like some gaps and some weird areas that showed up because of the way that I had to take the darkest areas away, so I just added in another one and made it a little bit less weird, and I brushed that in where I thought it needed to be. That is also set to screen. And then I added an orange glow set to linear light at 45% fill, just a soft brush to brush it in on the bottom where this fire would be kind of shining on the planet and on the jersey and stuff. Then I added in the text because there has to be like a theme for each recruiting graphic, so Set the World on Fire was the theme for this one, and kind of a space theme with like digital looking text. So literally I just put these words here and then duplicated it and put it over here, and then cut them in half, and then like brushed away certain letters to make it look a little more like, you know, odd, spacey, technical looking. And that's when you just have to get creative, you know. It's not like I didn't think too much about it. I just thought, oh, this might be cool, and I ended up liking the way it looked. So thought it just fit the theme. So you just gotta get creative, think about interesting things you can do like that. Sometimes I'm not the best at it, but that's what I came up with. I just had a space for the name over here on the bottom right with the same text. And then I just added in color lookups to give it a final look. I don't mind it looking kind of faded. Like, it doesn't look bad right now, but we usually go with a little more like contrasty, crispy looks. So I added in a film stock set to 90%, fall colors, and then Kodak 5205, and then a selective color where I think I just bumped the darkest areas up a little bit. And then I just did my usual lighting technique where you click on the top layer, Shift Control Alt E, makes like a flat layer of the whole image, and then I go up here to Image, Apply Image, and then it usually makes it really dark. And you know, sometimes it makes the graphic look better, and I just use it that way a little bit, or sometimes I will set it to screen and then give it a blur. And after doing all that, it looks like this, and then you just paint it in where you want it. So, and you can also change the fill if it's a little bit too intense. So I just brushed it in, like obviously where the light is, and it just kind of gives everything like a glow blending look. Kind of makes everything seem a little more realistic with the lighting. And that's it for that graphic. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys subscribing. I appreciate you guys becoming patrons. Remember, feel free to check that out. If you haven't, you can access some of my PSDs, and I'll try to rotate them out monthly. Also, I'm going to try and start putting out more content in the next few months because I know I've been away for a long time. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me and watching these videos. So have a blessed day, and we'll see you in the next one.